you rely on just about anything that you can get your hands on. There's nothing better. But I hope that it is a girl's best friend for a few years, whenever they're going through. So things like measuring a bra, things like body hair, things like body odor, boys, their place in the universe, the whole idea of what is a no, safety, online safety. So we've dealt with a lot of stuff which is that whole period and time for young girls, where the curiosity is at its peak, but there isn't legitimate information. So it's not too much information, it's diagrammatic, it's reasonably simple, enough for kids to understand and to have a decent base for them to then navigate that time.
You spoke about getting this book into schools. Are you planning on any sort of activation which will take this book and these conversations into schools and into places where young girls are?
Well, I think now that when the book first came out, we had to sort of shut that conversation down in a week because not just half the country, but all of us also got COVID. So this was the deadly second wave. And so it just seemed highly inappropriate to talk about this, and the time wasn't right, and then there was a lot of changes in the publication itself. And so we found a time now to be able to bring this book out, and now we're going to see how we, manage to make it a lot more mainstream, because as I see on several mom groups, they're constantly saying that, look, if you've written this book, then why don't you take it at least to Tara's school, which is JBCN. So bring it there, let's talk about the book, let's get boys and girls equally to read it so that there's information about this. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do some work in that area.
Lovely. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this conversation gets normalized. You're very lucky Tara read this book. I wrote a book for Krish, The Boy's Guide to Puberty, to Growing Up. He never read it.
Oh.
So thank you for, upholding your mother's writing efforts. With that, I'm going to throw the floor open to questions. I'm sure you have many questions and I'm not going to hog the mic here. Hands up.
I wanted to ask yours. So, this book is not just about puberty and periods. So it deals with a lot of emotions, right? So what are the kinds of emotions you've talked in this? Especially during your growing up, what are the kind of emotions?
I think primarily one has embarrassment. One is awkward as a teenager. One doesn't know what the hell is going on and what are all these surges of feelings. So Tara, for example, knows that we've had a conversation where we've chatted about the fact that sometimes you feel excessively emotional, and that might be coming from your hormones. And after some time when it calms down, you'll understand that my behavior was being a little weird. So you can take some time out and calm yourself down and then come back and we can resume the conversation so that at least you understand what's happening to you. Otherwise it's like, what's going on? So I think there was a lot of awkwardness, there was a lot of embarrassment, there was a lot of like hush hush, nudge nudge surrounding this. So that sort of thing primarily.
Do you have any boys coming up to you and, someone who's read? I know of one boy who was read, but
I have not so far, no.
Boys need to read this book.
My son has read it, he's 11 years old, and I ensured that he reads it with his friends. So yeah, two boys I know that.
Questions? This is the scariest moment when hands don't go up. So please put your hands up.
हेलो हाय मैम जैसे कि हम जानते हैं कोई भी बुक अगर हम लिखते हैं तो उसके पीछे का एक बहुत बड़ा रीजंस होते हैं या फिर मेहनत होती है. तो शुरुआत कहाँ से हुई इस बुक को एज अ राइटिंग पब्लिक के सामने लाना?
शुरुआत ये मेरी एडिटर है यहाँ पे विधि भार्गवा, ये मेरी जूनियर है स्कूल से, मेरे भाई के क्लास में थी, मेरे को टिस्का दीदी बुलाती थी और इन्होंने ये आइडिया मुझे प्रपोज किया लॉकडाउन में. और पहले मैंने बोला कि नहीं आई डोंट थिंक, वो शी सेड बट प्लीज़ थिंक अबाउट इट बिकॉज ऐसी किताब की बहुत ज़रूरत है. आप इसको एक माँ की तरफ से अपनी बेटी के लिए एक लेटर के रूप में लिख सकते हैं. So then the idea evolved, we discussed, then I started writing. We thought initially that we'll do it January, February, March, every month of the year, 12 chapter ऐसे करेंगे. But then we, went back and forth, and lockdown का अच्छा इस्तेमाल हुआ, and I was able to take inputs from Vidhi, from Dr. Mala, from Dr. Malvika, and actually write the book.
Yes, Khushbu.
Hi Kiran, hi Tisca. Because I can see it's about puberty, periods, pimples, people, a lot of P's, we've talked about periods and we're talking about puberty. All of us, all girls here have gone through the same. But what's your message as a mother to all other mothers out there? Because like you said, there are a lot of expectations. Suddenly there are a lot of filters once you enter the puberty stage. Girl is supposed to sit with crossed legs, and then you're supposed to maybe not have hair on body. I don't know why, and your mustache is suddenly, everybody has mustache, but we can't. And it's funny because I remember I went out to take out my mustache for the first time, and when I came back home, my dad was playing cards with his cousins, and he just looked at me and said, "You look strange, you look different today." And I was like, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. So it's a lot about body language, not body language, about body acceptability, because the world is harsh for growing up girls. Your breast size, your height, your color, your complexion, your pimples on your face, it's gross. Nobody talks about boys' pimples. So I'm asking you, how can parents, especially mothers, help an adolescent girl navigate through all of that? Because it's very important.
Thank you, Khushbu. I think it's a relevant question, very relevant question, and thank you for it. And this is not just for mothers of daughters, it's for mothers of sons as well. There was this one story that was floating around on the internet or on WhatsApp chats, that there was this boy who knew about periods because he had a sister or his mother had told him about it, and there was a girl who bled in a school bus, and he gave her his sweater because her skirt got stained, and he gave her her sweater, his sweater or his jacket, and she was able to leave the bus without getting embarrassed, and he saw her home or whatever. I think that we in Bombay or Delhi or Bangalore or Calcutta, as mothers, as women, are so aware of everything. But in smaller towns, there's still misinformation regarding certain things. We know the temple situation, we know situations where girls are still not allowed to enter the kitchen, they're not made to sleep in the same room. There's all sorts of strange things that go around, because India's many Indias, it's not just one India. So in that sense, I feel that if the book has the possibility of a translation, if it goes to schools, if it becomes a more mainstream conversation, there'll be less suffering for men and women, because eventually if a woman is awkward, she's maladjusted, she brings that to the relationships in her life. So if mothers, daughters, sons, fathers can read this book together, chapter by chapter, discuss it openly, I mean, what's the big deal? We're getting more and more woke as we're talking about, body shaming. You can no longer say fat. It's, you'll say other things for that. You're probably, I don't know what they're using for saying fat. Healthy. Yeah, you're healthy, or I would say horizontally challenged, or like whatever it is that you want to, vertically challenged, or I don't know what, something they would say. But the idea being that as we are evolving as a species, we're getting closer and closer to an idea of more decency, more acceptance, more inclusivity, more equality. And I hope that this is a small, tiny little splish splash in that pool, where young girls have a lot more support, a lot more legitimacy, because knowledge is power. So if they have that knowledge with them, which is backed by science, and there's diagrams and there's other things. So if they can read it and understand for themselves that this, I'm not sick. If somebody says, nahi, nahi, ye nahi karna, they say, why? What do you mean? Why should I not? And then they have logic behind it, and they can take a stand, and that, I hope, is what happens. Because how Sanjay and I have sort of our style of parenting has been to call a vagina, a penis, a breast, breasts. So there's no like hichi and, you know, some strange shying away code words, nicknames for things, because why? What is this whole embarrassment around the body? Every body has a body. And then we need to like talk about it in a very sort of scientific fashion, particularly when it comes to things which can impact a child. I mean, you're most sensitive when you're an adolescent. So you need to have that kind of support. There can be such awkwardness with growing breasts. What is the right bra? What is the right kind of you know, support you need? How to measure body hair, like you said about your mustache. You know, I mean, these things can make a person very, very awkward. So I think the wish is to open all of this up and take the shame away. That's the wish.
Actually, I read the first chapter, and there was a topic for breast, perfect fit, the section was called. I wanted to know is, actually in my body, near my breast, there are scars, there are like stretch marks, and I have nobody who actually have stretch marks at my particular age. So I never had that body positivity around me. So what is your say upon that? Like, as a mother, if you know that this is a bit different, your child is growing up quicker than other child, and plus it's always different for different people. So what is your say on the topic of growing quicker than your particular age? Is that worrying or is that normal?
So in a particular section of the book, I don't remember where specifically, we've spoken about the idea that we're an interesting bouquet, human beings. We're tall, short, wide, narrow, and there is no standard. You know, the times are such that everybody is questioning beauty standards. We are questioning that why is fair beautiful? Why is sultry not beautiful? Particularly in India, most people are, you know, we have a wonderful skin tone. Our olive skin tone is beautiful. But there is that idea of gori chitti and all of that. So somebody growing faster and that causing stretch marks, it's all beautiful. It's all part of the journey of your life, of your own individual imprint. And I think that when you love yourself, I know it's a very big idea to put out there and say, you know, you must love yourself, and it sounds like somebody's preaching. But it starts with these simple things to say, yeah, this is just the way I was meant to be. This is how it is, and this is wonderful. And not everything is being perfect, because perfection is just what is perfect, who is perfect. So, and the definition of beauty is changing so rapidly over the ages. In Japan, they would torture women. Small shoes, yeah. Chinese, not Japanese. Japanese also. Japanese is also, yeah.
Chinese, when they were still under the rule of others, they used to put a smaller shoe on their legs because leg doesn't grow and it remains small. As well as for men, it was longer hair. Hair used to go to the waist. But later on, it was not adapted enough, and they left the culture. But there are few people who still have the small feet.
With the rings around your neck to make your neck longer, and all of these ideas. I mean, I think it's just women have had to make themselves acceptable to the male idea, and somewhere other women have also pushed that idea forward. Ki ye sundar hai, ye sundar nahi hai. But today it's a time where you can wear wide leg jeans, you can wear low rise, you can wear boot cut, you can wear cropped joggers, whatever you like. I think also in terms of beauty, anybody who's confident, witty, intelligent, carries themselves well, is just as attractive. So it's the attractiveness is not necessarily कि आपके पैर छोटे हैं, you know, or any of those things. So yeah, your stretch marks make you beautiful, unique.
Hi Tisca, I'm Harry Anand. I would like to know, in the entire book, have you even covered when a child attends puberty? There's a lot of hormonal change that he goes through, and a lot of back answering because I'm mother of two. So my elder one is 11-year-old, and I could often see all of a sudden he started rebelling or argumenting for a week. Is there any advice that you would like to give to young mothers?
I would not dare. My daughter sitting in the front row, I would not dare to give advice. Of course, she understands because we've spoken about this, that there are hormonal changes that will happen, and also the other thing that I have always maintained that any mother is a human being. Before she became your mother, she was a human being. So she has pain, she has anger, she has her own life. She's a shade of grey like any other human being. Like you, she's also a human being. So she's bound to be imperfect. So what we have done for years, Javed Saab spoke about this actually very beautifully, where he said that औरत को देवी बना के उसको उसका जीना हराम कर देते हैं. We make it impossible for women. That she's supposed to be this great mother who is this mothering, fountain of love. It won't always happen. You won't always be this picture of sunshine and givingness, and you have your own requirements as a human being, your time with your friends, your time to watch something, do whatever you want. So this is a conversation that I've had with Tara, that Mama is also a human being, and if you have something you want to say, ask me. Say, Mama, I need your time, you have to talk to me now, or it's important, today I want to talk to you. So it might not happen at that moment unless it's an emergency, in which case it will obviously happen. But if it's not possible to do it then and there, then I will make time to understand, okay, what is it? Let's understand this. Let's figure this out. What was troubling you? So we spend time decoding that issue, which has become a flashpoint. We sort of pull it apart to see what was it at the end of the day. And sometimes it's just miscommunication or unfulfilled expectations. That I wanted this, but you didn't do this. So, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't, and this is what's going on with me. So, can we how can I best make up for this? Sort of thing.
Also, Tisca, I wanted to know the entire book. I have read the book, and it's more only for the girls. What about the boys? What about our boys? Because
I would request Sanjay Chopra to write one for boys.
And I don't mean only for the women and the girls out there, because it's way beyond just a book for prepubescent girls and their mothers. It's a thing that you can give to all the men in your life, and it would make them better boyfriends, it would make them better husbands, and definitely better fathers. So I think that's what you need to do.
Any more questions, guys? Yeah, we have a question at the back.
Hi, I'm Jhalak. So I just had one question, that while growing up, your experience with puberty was entirely different. When I was growing up, it was very different. I'm sure with your daughter, it's extremely different. In terms of the information that's available. For you, I'm sure it wasn't available that much. It has changed over the years. Now there is internet, now there's so much information out there, good and bad. And there is all kinds of shows, movies, whatever happening, very accessible, right? And there are all kind of information that is accessible to a teenager now, and even children. And what is happening is that at this point, because all of this information is available, you can't really differentiate, or at that age you can't really differentiate what is good information, what is bad information. How do you, have you sort of dealt with that as a parent and in your book as well? Because you can't really restrict information anymore. So have you kind of had to deal with that? Have you thought about it, or have you like had these challenges in your life as well?
I think the reason for the book is because there is a possibility of there being misinformation. Um, in our time, it was just simply lack of information, and there was no one was talking about it. And if you started spotting, is when actually your mother then brought up the topic, or some mothers told them before, cousins at a family wedding, at somewhere or the other, you'd find out about it. We have addressed online, how to look at information online and not to take it at face value. But the idea of the book is that you can sort of understand what is right from wrong. That is the central idea. And as far as not being able to control information, I think you can. You can have parental tabs of sorts, and of course be an involved parent. If you're not going to be interested in what your child is watching, I peep in and see what she's watching. I ask her. We make sure we follow all the PG guidelines and all of that. So yeah, but they are far more aware. At the end of the day, if it's part of a normal conversation in the house, even they're not so alarmed about asking these questions. She's sitting here. She knows what we're talking about. So it's not like as if it's now she's going to be embarrassed about it. So she's aware of what lies ahead of her, and she can probably guide her friends. So I think information at the end of the day, and as a parent, you have to sort of guide your child along. You can't live their life for them, but you can gently guide them and show what path is right from wrong. That much you have to be involved.
Do we have any more questions? Yes.
So, this is a very good initiative, right? We were talking about a very positive message, and the audience here by far is from Mumbai, very cosmopolitan urban, but that's not India. And you talked about two Indias, right? So, and you touched upon that, talked about translation, etc. My question is specifically, how do you intend to spread this message to tier 2, tier 3 cities where, this is even more important? Because I think we talked about information being available, but how do you use that information? That's a big problem outside of Mumbai, right? Tier 2, tier 3 cities. So what have you given thought, or has your team given thought? Because it's really important. This message should go out.
It is extremely vital. I think we're going to work hard now that we're able to actually bring the book out and talk about it. Now is when we'll start working on, now we'll start the legwork, the work of going to schools, to having conversations with principals, to giving books to libraries. And then Pratilipi has a very large footprint in many languages. 14 languages is what they have a footprint in. So even if we can initially do like a Hindi and then maybe Bengali and then some 1 or 2 South Indian languages, it's possible that there is some coverage, and of course each of you here can then sort of take this word out there, because I do think that it impacts a child so deeply. Your teenage years is where you're scarred the maximum. You can be, the ideas about your body particularly, fat, thin, you're so sensitive at that time. It gets embossed into your psyche. It's very difficult to take that out. You need years of therapy to then get out of that kind of thinking. And mothers or fathers or friends or family will casually throw, "Te mote ho gaye," or some rubbish like that. Yeah. और ये कि क्या है, ये एकदम चेस्ट वेस्ट नहीं है क्या मतलब ऐसा है, फेमिनिन नहीं है तो लड़के जैसी है, और some rubbish like that, which they're not intending harm. I'm sure if they realized what they were doing, they wouldn't do it, but it's still being done. So sensitivity around all of this is, I think, a very, very important thing.
Any further questions? I think with that we've come to a close to the session. Thank you so much, Tisca, for your...
Thank you, Kay. Thank you. Kiran Manral is a dear, dear friend, and we told her today, just now. And she's done this just now for us. Thank you.
You make it easy.
Subscribe to One India channel and never miss an update.